Right, if you build software, you already know what an API is. And lately you keep hearing about MCP, and somebody in the comments always says it is just an API with extra steps. It is not. And that difference is the reason your AI tooling either works or quietly falls apart 6 months in. Here is the one-line version, and everything else today hangs off it. An API is a contract between two pieces of software. MCP is a contract between software and a reasoning model. Those are genuinely different problems. Once you see why, you will never mix them up again. Start with the API. You expose an endpoint. You publish documentation. Then a developer reads those docs and writes code that hits your endpoint, handling the auth, the pagination, the retries, that one bizarre error case, and that code gets written once by a human ahead of time. Now multiply it out. 5 internal systems, 4 applications that need them. That is 20 separate integrations to build and maintain forever. Engineers have a name for this, the N times M problem, and it has been quietly eating budgets for 30 years. Then we started building agents, and an agent has to decide at runtime which system to reach for. It cannot read your documentation. It cannot sit in the onboarding meeting. It only knows what you place in front of it in that exact moment. So teams started handwriting wrappers, a little description for every endpoint glued into every agent, which sounds fine, right up until you have 30 tools and 4 different AI applications, and every one of them invented its own incompatible plugin format. MCP is the Model Context Protocol, an open standard released by Anthropic at the end of 2024 and now adopted far beyond them. One shared language for handing tools and context to a model. And the comparison that actually sticks is a boring one. Think USB-C. Before it, every single device had its own cable, its own charger, its own drawer full of dongles you were afraid to throw away. After it, one port. Everything just plugs in. MCP is trying to be exactly that port, but for AI. And here is the part almost everybody gets wrong. MCP does not replace your API. In nearly every real deployment, the MCP server is a thin layer that turns around and calls the API you already have. Same backend, same database, new front door, one built for a model instead of a developer. An MCP server exposes 3 kinds of thing, and the real difference between them is who is in control. First, tools. Tools are model controlled, verbs. Create the ticket, run the query, send the message. The model decides when to fire them, so tools are where the power lives and the risk. Second, resources. Resources are application controlled, nouns, not verbs. A file, a record, a database schema, a page of internal documentation. Read-only context that the app pulls in and places in front of the model. Nothing fires, nothing changes, nothing to undo. Third, prompts. Prompts are user-controlled. Templates a human deliberately reaches for. A slash command, a saved workflow, a review checklist your best engineer wrote once. The server ships the expertise. The person chooses the moment to fire it. Model, app, user. 3 owners, 3 primitives. Under the hood, it is calmer than you would expect. A host application runs one client for each server it connects to, and they talk over a deliberately boring, decades-old message format. 2 transports matter. One where the server runs as a process on your own machine and never touches the network, and one for hosted servers with proper authentication in front. Then comes the handshake. The client says hello, both sides agree on what they support, and the client asks a simple question: what have you got? The server lists its tools, names, descriptions, argument schemas. The model reads that menu, picks one, calls it, and the result flows straight back into context. Now notice what just happened there, because this is the whole trick. Discovery happens at runtime. You add a tool to your server this afternoon and every connected client can see it immediately. No redeploying the AI application, no shipping a new wrapper to anybody. It is simply there. So the payoff, N times M collapses into N plus M. You write one server for your system and every MCP speaking client can use it, the ones you use today and the ones that ship next year. Your integration stops being disposable glue and starts being an asset. And your credentials stay where they belong, at the server boundary. The model asks for an outcome. The server decides whether that is allowed and does the authenticating itself. Your keys never travel into a context window. That alone is worth the migration for most teams. So what would you build? Start with the boring gold. A server over your internal wiki, so answers stop living inside one person's head. A read-only server over production data with the guardrails baked in. An operations server that can actually run the runbook at 2 in the morning. And here is the honest test for a genuinely good idea. Watch yourself work for one single day. Every time you copy something out of a browser tab and paste it into a chat window, that is a missing MCP server. Every single time. That friction is the specification. Best practices quickly. 1. Design for the model, not for your router. Do not mirror 12 REST endpoints as 12 tools. One well-named search and summarize tool beats 5 raw calls the model has to stitch together itself. You are designing an interface for a reader, not a database. 2. The description is the interface. Say when to use the tool, not just what it does. That single sentence will do more for reliability than any clever prompt engineering you attempt afterwards. The model only ever sees the words you wrote. 3. Return small, high-signal results. A tool that dumps 4,000 lines of raw output has not answered anything. It has just moved the problem into the context window, and you are paying for every token of it. 4. Keep the tool count tight. 100 tools is a confused model. 5. Read only by default. Gate anything destructive behind an explicit human yes. And make your errors useful. A failure that says try searching first is worth 10 that just say invalid request. Your error messages are instructions to the model, so write them that way. And the one that people skip. Treat everything a tool returns as untrusted text. If your server relays content from the outside world, that content can carry instructions aimed straight at your model. Prompt injection is not theoretical. Never put a secret in a description and never in a result. So, the whole thing in 2 lines. An API connects software to software. MCP connects software to something that reasons. And the teams pulling ahead right now are not the ones with the cleverest prompts. They are the ones quietly wrapping their systems in a protocol the models already speak. Go and build the boring one first.